Okay, moving on into the squat pattern assessment. We've done the bend with toe touch and the active straight leg raise. We're now looking at the squat. Um, this is a pattern that we have some point of performance that we want to look at. How is the movement initiated? Are the hips moving back first? Is it initiated by the knees? What's happening with the stabilization of the core as the person is coming down? Are they giving up and going forward? What are the knees doing? Are they in line with the toes? Are they coming in at the bottom? Are they coming in all the way? What's happening with the lumbar spine? Is it extending at the bottom? Is it collapsing on the movement? And to be fair, I think this is one of those examples where you can look at the pattern before the parts, because you need to look at it all as a whole and then start breaking up a little bit to see where the issues can be. I find that when it comes to the squat, there is quite a big array of possibilities, directions in which you could go. The person could perhaps be lacking ankle flexion or extension, and then all of a sudden, there's a limitation there. It could have some physiology issues. Maybe the person has very long humerus, and then they're never going to be as upright as you potentially like them to be. But I find that for the most part, it's a great way to looking at, does the person actually know how to squat? Can they perform the pattern with control? That would be my first real thing that I will be looking at. And if they can, then the first thing they're going to have to do going into program design is actually learning that. And they're going to probably have to do assisted squats, maybe holding to the rings, or maybe going into a box eccentrically. Then they might move into something that it's easier to perform, like a goblet squat with some load in front of their body, and so on and so forth, constantly progressing them until they can get to a point where they can perform the movement correctly. It could also be that they're lacking hip flexibility or hip range of motion, and they're shutting down, so they will have to do other things for that. Highly likely they are going to be missing core strength, or even just the basic glute and just squat and hamstring strength to just perform, just basically to sit down on a chair. So they might have to start with something very basic. But that's how I would approach it, and then depending on what I think highlights or is the main part of the movement that I would like to address first, start with that and then create a progression from there. So the person can relearn the pathway and can get strong enough to then perform the movement with control. I have already, in my short life doing this, made the mistake of going straight into, that's ankle, mobility issue, and that's it. And you can do an ankle range of motion test, but the truth is that there are many things, and you really have to not overcomplicate it, but just stay with basics and just go from there, really, because it's not like overly complicated. You don't want to make it like